Sometimes, the scariest stories aren't the ones you know are fiction. They're the ones whispered as true. Real encounters, chilling experiences, and moments when ordinary people claim they face the unexplainable. Today, we're diving deep into 5 horrific, allegedly true paranormal stories that come straight from those who lived through them, or at least survived to tell the tale. Some of these accounts will make you wonder if there's more to this world than we'll ever understand. And by the end, you might just find yourself questioning what's real. The first story comes from a woman named Claire, who was house-sitting for a family friend in rural Montana. The house sat on a quiet stretch of land, surrounded by nothing but forest and open fields. On her first night, Claire noticed something strange, the sound of footsteps on the roof. Assuming it was an animal, she ignored it. But the next night it happened again, only this time. It was followed by soft tapping on the upstairs windows. Claire checked every room, nothing. But when she opened the front door to check outside, she found a single handprint on the glass too large to be human, and with only 4 fingers. Claire locked every door and window and called the homeowners. Their response chilled her to the bone. They told her they often heard footsteps too, but they never mentioned it because, in their words, it doesn't bother us as long as we don't look for it. Claire packed up and left that night. Sometimes, the things that lurk around us aren't trying to be seen, and maybe that's the real warning. Creepy enough. But hold on. The second story pushes the boundary between nightmare and reality in a way that leaves people shaken every time they hear it. This happened to a man named Devon, who was driving home late one night through the back roads of West Virginia. It was raining hard, visibility was low, and the winding road was empty. As Devon rounded a sharp bend, his headlights illuminated a figure standing in the middle of the road. A woman dressed in white, her hair hanging over her face. Devon slammed on the brakes, heart pounding, but by the time the car stopped, the woman was gone. Shaken, he got out to check, thinking he might have hit her. But the road was empty, no sign of anyone. Just as he turned to get back in his car, he felt a cold hand grab his shoulder. Spinning around, there was no one there. Devon didn't wait another second. He got in his car and sped off. Later, he learned that stretch of road was known locally as the Ladies' Curve, a place where dozens of drivers had reported seeing the same woman before dying in car accidents weeks later. Devon's brakes failed 2 days after the encounter. He survived, but he swears that woman wasn't just a ghost, she was a warning. Now, if you've ever been fascinated by stories of haunted objects, this third one will make you think twice before picking up something from a thrift store. Emma loved vintage shopping. She spent weekends browsing antique stores for unique pieces for her home. One afternoon, she came across an old wooden music box. Beautifully carved, it played a soft, haunting tune when opened. The shopkeeper gave it to her for free, saying it had a strange history. Thinking nothing of it, Emma took it home and placed it on her bedside table. That night, she woke up to the sound of the music box playing even though it was closed. Unnerved, she locked it in a drawer. But the music kept playing every night at exactly 3:07 am. Emma tried giving it away, even throwing it out, but somehow it always ended up back on her nightstand. After weeks of sleepless nights and terrifying dreams of shadowy figures standing by her bed, Emma returned to the shop to confront the owner, only to find the building abandoned, boarded up, and, according to neighbors, empty for over 5 years. Emma eventually had the box sealed in a concrete block and left it in a river. Since then, the music has stopped, but sometimes she swears she can still hear it in the dead of night. Haunted houses are scary, but haunted objects, that's a different kind of nightmare. Before we get to the fourth story, think about this. Have you ever walked into a place and instantly felt like you shouldn't be there? Some places carry a weight, a presence you can't explain, and that's exactly what happened in this next account. This story comes from 2 friends, Mark and Josh, who went urban exploring in an abandoned asylum in New York. The building had been closed for decades, rumored to be haunted, with stories of dark experiments and violent patients. Armed with flashlights and a camera, they ventured inside. At first, it was just old rooms, decaying walls, and the eerie silence of an abandoned place. But then, they found a corridor lined with locked doors. As they walked, each door began to rattle, softly at first, then violently, as if something inside was trying to break out. Mark and Josh froze. Suddenly, one door burst open with a deafening slam. They shined their lights inside. The room was empty, but on the far wall, written in what looked like fresh blood, were the words, "Get out." They didn't need a second warning. They ran, not looking back. Later, when reviewing their footage, they heard something chilling. A voice whispering in the background, saying, "You weren't supposed to see this." Neither of them returned to urban exploring again. Some places are abandoned for a reason, and sometimes they're not as empty as they seem. The final story on our list comes from a man named Richard, a security guard who worked night shifts at a historical museum in Boston. Richard was used to creaks, shadows, and strange noises. Old buildings have a way of making the night feel alive, but this night was different. Around 2 a.m., he noticed the sensors on the east wing triggering. Motion detected, despite the area being locked and empty. Thinking it was a technical glitch, he went to check. As he entered the wing, he felt a sudden drop in temperature. His flashlight flickered, and then he saw it. A figure dressed in colonial-era clothing, standing motionless at the end of the hall. Thinking it was a mannequin or perhaps a prank, Richard called out. The figure turned its head slowly, revealing hollow black eyes, and began gliding toward him. Not walking, gliding. Richard bolted, calling backup, but when they arrived, the wing was completely empty. The next morning, Richard submitted his resignation. The kicker. Staff later confirmed no mannequins were kept in that section, and several guards before him had reported seeing the same figure over the years. Richard still refuses to talk about what he saw that night. Some jobs come with risks, but some risks you'll never be prepared for. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Whether these stories are real, exaggerated, or misunderstood. The fear they leave behind is always real. Because at the heart of every paranormal tale is a simple truth. We don't know everything. And maybe, just maybe, we're not supposed to. If you've ever experienced something you couldn't explain, you're not alone. People around the world report strange sightings, eerie encounters, and moments that defy logic every single day. Whether it's a shadow that shouldn't be there, a voice in an empty room, or the sudden chill that comes with the feeling of being watched. Sometimes, the world reminds us that it's a lot stranger than we think. And here's the real question. Do you believe these stories? Or do you think they're just campfire tales twisted over time? Maybe it doesn't even matter. Maybe what truly matters is the way these stories make you feel. The chill down your spine, the quick glance over your shoulder, the hesitation before turning off the lights. Because fear, in the end, is the oldest story we know. So if you've made it this far, I've got to ask, which one of these stories got to you the most? Or have you had your own encounter with the unexplained? Share your story in the comments. Who knows, maybe your tale will be the next horrific account we feature. And if you're ready for more terrifying, allegedly true stories, stay tuned. Because next time we're diving into haunted places you can actually visit. But be warned, some visitors never really leave.